My fiancé once told me, "Your family's problems are not my problems." When my brother needed help, I nodded, "You're absolutely right." And then her sister got arrested. I used her exact words against her. She called me heartless while begging for my help. Ethan, 29, just wanted to get this weight off my chest. Right now, I'm being called every terrible name in the book. But honestly, I'm sleeping great. Talia, 27, and I have been together for 4 years and engaged for about 6 months. She has always been the one to set extremely clear boundaries. Her favorite saying is, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." Fine by me. I'm also very independent. My brother, Noah, 24, was going through a really rough patch. No addiction or anything like that, just bad luck. He got laid off during company downsizing. His girlfriend broke up with him. Then his landlord sold the building, giving everyone 30 days to move. He was at his wit's end. About 3 weeks ago, Noah called me. He'd been living in his car for a week, too proud to ask for help sooner. He asked if he could crash on my couch for a month to get back on his feet. He had 2 job interviews lined up. That night, Noah had a direct conversation with Talia, explaining the situation and saying he just needed a place to sleep on the sofa for a few weeks. Her answer, "Your family's problems have nothing to do with me, Ethan. We already agreed. I don't help anyone's family. I live in this apartment too. And honestly, if Noah knew how to manage his life, he wouldn't be in this situation. He's a poor planner. This isn't an emergency for me." I sat there as if I'd been slapped. Losing a job and getting kicked out of your home isn't poor planning. That's life. Everyone should have 6-month savings, she continued. Well, that's easy to say. Not everyone can save like that, Talia. She rolled her eyes and said, "I don't mean to be mean, but I've worked hard to build this life. I don't want it disrupted by your family drama. If you want to help Noah, find another place. A motel, maybe. A month at the cheapest motel would be over $1,000. But if helping my brother was expensive, it was my money, right? The thing is, Talia makes a lot as a marketing director. I'm an electrician with a steady income. Our finances are separate. We split the bills. The apartment is in both our names." I looked at her for a long time and said, "So you're saying if you can't respect my boundaries, maybe we should reconsider this relationship?" "Exactly. I'm not making you choose, but I have clear boundaries." She was threatening to end our engagement because my brother was homeless. She was absolutely right. I nodded. My family wasn't her problem. She smiled and kissed me on the cheek. "I knew you'd understand. That's why I love you." I called Noah back. I couldn't let my brother sleep in his car for another night. I paid for both of them. I'd saved about $1,400, so I rented Noah a room at a long-term stay motel. I helped him move his stuff out of his car. Bought him food. Got him a few nice outfits for his interviews. Talia found out when she saw my banking app open on my phone. I didn't hide anything. "You really paid for Noah's motel? That's your problem, your money." She seemed a little annoyed, but in the end, didn't say anything more. A week later, Noah got the job. Now he's renting a room with a new colleague. Things were finally looking up. But then, it all began. Last Tuesday, 2 a.m., Talia's phone was ringing non-stop. Her sister, Marissa, 31, was calling over and over. Finally, Talia answered. I could hear Marissa sobbing. She'd just been arrested for a DUI. She hit a parked car and fled the scene. Someone saw her and called the police. Talia panicked, quickly changed, and shouted, "We have to go to the police station to bail her out." "We?" I asked from the bed. "Yes, we. Marissa needs help." I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Your family's problems are not my problems, Talia." She turned to look at me as if I were an alien. "Are you serious? Dead serious?" I repeated her words. Marissa's poor planning isn't an emergency for me. She's in jail, and Noah was just homeless. You told me to handle my own business. I'm just respecting your boundaries. That's different. Is it though? I asked back. She committed a crime. She chose to drink and drive. Noah lost his job. She yelled, "You're so petty!" "I'm not petty. I'm consistent. Your family, your problems, your money," I said and lay back down. The bail bondsman takes credit cards. She screamed and then left. She returned at 8 a.m. the next morning, exhausted. The bail was $15,000. Talia had to put up $1,500. But that wasn't the end of it. Then came the lawyer. The court date was set, and things started getting really serious. Marissa was charged with DUI, property damage, and leaving the scene of an accident. Her public defender just advised her to plead guilty for a reduced sentence. Talia came to me on a Thursday evening. She was gentle, cooked my favorite meal, poured wine. The whole evening felt like a romantic date. But I knew something was up. She said, "Ethan, we need to talk about Marissa's situation." I looked her straight in the eye and replied, "Your family. Your problem." Her expression changed. "Ethan, I'm serious. She could go to jail. Then she should hire a lawyer. A lawyer like that will cost at least $10,000. Marissa doesn't have the money." "Sounds like that's her problem." Talia slammed her wine glass on the table. It didn't break, but it was enough to get my attention. "I don't have the money either. After bail, I'm almost broke." I replied, "Maybe Marissa should have thought about that before getting behind the wheel drunk." She glared at me. "You're cruel." "No, I'm just using the exact same logic you used with Noah. Don't compare this to that. I know I was wrong to say those things about Noah, but this is my sister. Can you stop bringing up Noah? I'll stop when you stop being a hypocrite." The argument erupted. She accused me of being heartless, hateful, and manipulative. I just stayed silent, then pulled out my phone. Yes, I had recorded our conversation when she threatened to call off the engagement if I helped my brother. I played the recording. "Your family's problems are not my problems." It was Talia's own voice. She turned pale, tried to grab the phone to delete it, but I was faster. "That was a different situation." "No, it's the same situation. The only difference is that the person who committed the crime this time is your sister." The next day, her parents, Neil and Karina, called me. They used to love me, treated me like a son. Neil said, "Ethan, we hear you two aren't helping Marissa." I replied, "I'm applying the exact boundaries Talia set. She made it clear family is a personal responsibility. I'm just respecting that." They were silent. I continued. Talia refused to help Noah. When he was homeless, she said it wasn't her problem and even threatened to call off the engagement if I let him stay. No one said anything. I said, "You can ask Talia if you want to verify." They hung up after a few pleasantries. About an hour later, Talia returned, angry as a storm. "You told my parents about Noah? Now they're asking why I didn't help. You're turning them against me." "No, I just told the truth. If the truth makes you look bad, then that's your problem." The next day, Marissa came to our apartment. She looked miserable, sleep-deprived, and distraught. "Ethan, please. I know Talia was wrong about Noah, but I'm desperate. I could lose everything." I looked at her and replied, "Then you should have thought about that before you drove drunk." "I made a mistake, a single mistake." Noah also made a mistake by trusting a company and getting laid off, but I didn't see you offering to help him. Marissa burst into tears. Talia came out, hugged her sister, and looked at me with an icy gaze. "Ethan, you're so heartless." "No, I'm just as heartless as you were 3 weeks ago." Same energy, different target. Marissa left. Talia started packing her things. "I'm going to my parents' house for a few days," she said. I just nodded. "Take your time." But in my head, the clock was ticking down to rent being due. Her half was $1,000. 4 days later, Talia came back. She didn't look happy. It seemed her parents weren't as supportive as she thought after hearing the full truth about Noah. But the real fun began when Marissa's case went to court. The public defender advised her to plead guilty for a reduced sentence. Marissa panicked. She started a family group chat to ask for money for a private lawyer. And for some reason, I was still in that group. The family was clearly divided. Half supported helping Marissa. Half were against it. Just then, Talia's cousin Jesse dropped a bombshell. Didn't Talia once refuse to help Ethan's homeless brother? Why is the whole family rushing to help Marissa now? Talia went silent. It turned out her parents had told everyone at Sunday dinner, and from then on, people looked at her differently. Aunts and uncles started pointing fingers. So it only matters when it's your family, is that it? Then Marissa, out of desperation, did something foolish. She posted a fundraiser for her lawyer's fees on social media. She tried to portray herself as a victim of circumstances. But someone, not me, I swear, left a comment. Charges, drunk driving, property damage, hit and run. The post backfired. Marissa's company, a non-profit organization, fired her for violating their code of ethics and social media policy. Talia came home in tears. Marissa not only lost her job, but was about to lose her apartment too. I sat in silence. She screamed, "You've ruined my family!" No, Marissa ruined it herself. I'm not the one shielding her from the consequences. I will never forgive you. You threatened to end our engagement because of my brother. Now I have to worry about your forgiveness. And then the ultimatum. Help Marissa, or it's over. I laughed, genuinely, a small laugh. Talia, we were over the moment you looked me in the eye and said my brother sleeping in his car was none of your business. I stayed until now because I've got half the rent paid. I'm not breaking the lease, but watching you be held accountable to your own standards, that's priceless. That night, she officially moved out. After Talia left, the apartment was eerily quiet. No more hairdryer at 6 a.m., no more Chanel perfume lingering in the bathroom, and no one forcing me to watch meaningless reality TV. To be honest, I don't miss it. I texted Noah, "Doing okay?" He replied a few minutes later, "Better than ever." He was waitering at a small diner, renting a cheap room with a decent roommate. It wasn't luxurious, but it was enough to get back on his feet. I was happy for him. A week later, I got a text from Talia's mom. "Ethan, your aunt and uncle just wanted to say, you were right." I didn't text back. It wasn't necessary. Marissa finally pleaded guilty, as her public defender advised. The sentence: 6 months of probation, 1 year of supervised release, 80 hours of community service, and a 12-month license suspension. Maybe it was the best thing for her, a chance to start over, to take responsibility for the first time. Talia still hasn't contacted me. I don't expect her to. And I have no intention of calling first. If she really thinks all her mistakes can be forgiven just because it's my family, then we're not living in the same reality. A mutual friend texted me. Talia is telling everyone you're heartless, that you have no heart. I replied, she doesn't like the reflection. My friend just texted back, ouch, but true. I started going to the gym again, eating and sleeping well, and I feel less stressed. Every time I think about Noah's desperate call and Talia's cold indifference, I know I made the right choice. Not because I was getting revenge, but because I don't want to be with a person like that. 2 months later, I ran into Talia at a coffee shop. It was by chance. She was with a girlfriend, and I was waiting for my to-go coffee. Our eyes met. She approached me. "Ethan." I just nodded. "Talia." A moment of silence, and then she said, "I've been doing a lot of thinking." I sipped my coffee. Good. Maybe I was wrong to ignore Noah. It's not maybe, Talia. It's definitely. She looked at the floor. I lost my job, my friends, my reputation. My family is starting to pull away. What about you? Did you lose anything? I thought for a few seconds and replied, "Yes, lost my illusion of who you are." Talia froze. I continued, I used to think you were fair, principled, and empathetic. It turns out that was only when it was convenient. When it wasn't, you chose to protect your image over being a decent person." She nodded slightly, as if taking it in. "I didn't come here to apologize. I know that's meaningless now. I just wanted to say, you're the only person who didn't shield me from the consequences. And I hate you for it. Do you hate me because I didn't save you? Or do you hate me because I showed you the truth?" She didn't answer. I gave a slight laugh. "Talia, you once told me that no one is responsible for someone else's family. You were right, but you also taught me that anyone who lives by that rule has to accept when it comes back to them. You were the first person I truly loved, but you were also the one who taught me a very expensive lesson. Selective kindness is not kindness. It's a calculation." She grabbed my arm, but I pulled away. "I'm not angry at you anymore, Talia, but I can't respect you. And I can't love someone I don't respect." I walked away, leaving Talia standing there amidst the sound of the coffee grinder and the gentle background music that no one was really listening to. That night, Noah called me. "You okay?" I replied, "I'm fine." He was silent for a moment and then said, "You probably won't believe this, but I'm thankful for Talia." I was surprised. What? If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. Sometimes you need to be rejected at the right time to know your own worth. I laughed. "You've grown up." "Maybe. And you, are you still living by principles?" "Yeah, this time for real." Noah said, "Principles don't feed you, but they keep you from going astray." I nodded, not because I agreed, but because I understood. I look at my relationship with Talia like a deep cut. Not because she's a bad person, but because she's weak in a cruel way. When people put honor, money, and external appearance above compassion, they will always get lost at the most critical moments. I don't have any regrets. I'm not happy that Marissa faced consequences. But I believe that everyone needs a moment to face themselves. And if that makes them hate me, then so be it. Because sometimes people don't need a comforter. They need a mirror, cold and honest. And I just happened to be that mirror.